Good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist here in the Storm Track 8 Weather Center. With me, of course, is Peter Warner, our weather anchor. And how does it feel to be back on the weekend evenings now?
It's great. I missed it. It's been a while.
I tell you, it's been a nice weekend as well.
It's been fantastic outside.
Yeah. And hopefully everyone out there has been taking advantage of this real nice weekend where we had some sunshine, 60s, and I believe it reached around 70.
70 today.
70 degrees. So a real nice weekend across the area. But all eyes are really been focused going into about Monday night. And that's where we're here right now on the News 8 Plus app to give you the latest update. There have been some changes because some of the things we've been talking about lately, and what we always want to stress in the days ahead before a day of impact is the timing and the placement, the level of severity. We're getting some more data in, more of those elements that are coming in together. That gives us a slightly better picture of what we could potentially, that's the operative word.
That's a big word here, potential.
Could be seeing around here locally. So we continue with our Storm Track 8 weather impact alert as we head into Monday night. We've been talking about this for the past number of days, that Monday night really appears to be the best chance for seeing, looks like maybe all modes of severe weather, but a lot has to play in part for this to really happen. And one of the things that we have noticed around here, when it comes to some of the models, is what we call kind of a capping inversion. The first thing we should do, by the way, let's go first to the storm zone. Before we talk about this capping inversion and explain a little bit what's going on. Peter, why don't you go ahead and show what's been the latest update when it comes to the level of risk across our local area?
Yeah, about most of the Iowa side of the river is at that level 3 out of 5 threat for the very likely chance of seeing some of those severe storms. Southern portions of the area like Burlington, you are at that level 2 out of 5. For the eastern portions of the area, Geneseo, Princeton, Kewaunee, all the way down towards Galesburg, you guys are at the level 2 out of 5 risk. But yeah, there's still a risk there, even at that level 2 out of 5. So everyone's still at an elevated threat here for these storms. Biggest threat that we're kind of keeping an eye on, at least I know we've been talking about a lot, is the tornado threat with this system. And we do have a hatched area, so that means a significant threat, about a 10% chance of seeing an EF2 or greater tornado within that hatch area. So northern portions, pretty much north of I-80, carrying out towards Sterling a little bit, and a lot of, again, the Iowa side of the river has that hatched area, that level 2, actually 3 out of 5 threat for tornadoes, 2 out of 5 threat for other portions further, again, to the south and to the east. That's kind of the trend we're seeing here across all of the threat levels. Similar here, again, with the large hail, 2+ inch size hail likely within the hatched area. That's large hail, that's about egg-sized hail or a little bit greater on the Iowa side of the river where you're seeing that hatched threat. That's a level 3 out of 5. Then the last one is the wind zone. That's a little bit lower. The straight line wind damage is still 2 out of 5 here, but we're seeing that 3 out of 5 threat with the wind damage. Right.
I mean, nothing that we see significant, anything with hatchets or anything like that would represent something like 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts or such. That may be even more to our north and west. And let's go back to the tornado threat here. You had that in hatches. Now, keep in mind that we're focusing anywhere within that hatched area where we could be seeing like I said, somewhere within that area, and I think it's going to be even more north and west of the Quad Cities, where we could be seeing those strong EF2 plus tornadoes. I think it's going to be even farther to the north and west, given that we've been noticing this shift from our risk values that we've been noticing around here. So going back to the severe storm zone threat here, once again, we want to show you that we were yesterday, or even last night, under a 3 out of 5. Really most of our viewing area.
That's true.
Right? And that has now shifted slightly, more like a county or two more north and west, okay? Now, the reason why we are seeing this shift a little bit is the timing of these storms that will be evolving off to our north and west. And count on us, folks. We are going to be keeping a check on that radar around the western half of the Hawkeye State going into southern Minnesota, because once we do see those storms evolve, I think around the afternoon and early evening, then that gives us a real good idea of the timing and the coverage and the level of severity that we could possibly see going into Monday night.
Yeah, that's exactly the area we're keeping an eye on. And if I can zoom out here, actually,
Yeah.
that's where we're seeing that level, a little too hard.
That's all right.
That level 4 out of 5 threat, that's kind of where we see the most potential. And the models are agreeing that's kind of where it's going to pop off almost, you could say,
Right,
along that cold front.
exactly.
And that's exactly where we're seeing that area of low pressure track its way towards too.
Because you've got good instability there. Of course, as you mentioned, we got the cold front that's going to be coming in, kind of angling from northeast to southwest. In that area, you got some really good turning of the air from the surface aloft. A lot of the photographs are going clockwise. That's usually an indication that you're going to have some good supercells, long-lasting storms that could produce some long-tracking tornadoes. So that is the area that is really under the highest risk. So that's why we've been seeing this shift in some of the models moving its way off to the north and west, okay? But not too much. Doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. Nothing is etched in stone, really, when it comes to these severe threats, even though we're 24 hours out.
Yeah, I mean, and that's at least when I was looking at it here when I got in today. I haven't really put an exact time frame yet because it's all going to be depending on what we see with the system develop further to the north and west.
Right.
Because we don't, I mean, the time frame, it could shift still a little bit more.
It absolutely can.
Ahead.
Absolutely
It's such
can.
a dynamic system we're seeing too.
That's absolutely correct. That's right. That's what we're really concerned about heading into tomorrow. So I think once we see how these storms evolve, we're going to get a good idea. But once again, we want to stress this is going to be for us, I would think, more of a late Monday night event for us. There still is a possibility, maybe in the afternoon and evening, for our hometowns west of the river, that we could see an isolated shower or thunderstorm only because we have a warm front that's coming in tomorrow morning.
Yeah, the warm front leading it. I mean, this is your very typical kind of lineup you see here for this time of year. We have the warm front, the deepening low pressure coming off Colorado, followed by that cold front. And you see the more dynamic storms we typically will see on the cold front, depending on the cap, which we should get into.
Well, we're going to get to, I'm going to get to that in just a little bit, right?
But
We get some warm temperatures tomorrow.
yeah, we're seeing 80s.
Yeah.
Highs. 85 degrees I have as our high here.
And I think the dew point temperatures are going to be up there as well.
We're well into the 60s.
Do we have a future track on dew point? Look at that.
Yes.
You've got that.
I put it at 10
already.
p.m. too, because that's when we're seeing the system potentially track.
Right, and then where we look around, where we see those dew point temperatures around 60 or higher, that actually, the higher the dew point, the more unstable that atmosphere could be. And that is why we always want to check those dew point temperatures. So we certainly have some ingredients out there that can produce some of that severe weather. So that's kind of what we're going to be also keeping an eye on. But let's talk about this so-called cap. Now, you've heard that term given to us. We've given that term out a number of times when it comes to severe weather, but I think it's important to let people know, well, what is a cap? And the cap really plays a huge role as to you're going to get thunderstorms or you're not, okay? We're kind of under a conditional threat for severe weather. When we talk about conditional threat, it means that any thunderstorms that do pop up, boom, they go crazy. They just explode, that's right. And with that, you can have all modes of severe weather. But in these conditions that we're dealing with, it could be more of an isolated coverage event that may be taking place. So let's get into this coverage, this thing about the cap. And if you want more information about what may, I can't get the words out. I'm enjoying my weekend. If you want to know more about what the cap does, you can always go to my Facebook page. I posted this on my Facebook page of what really goes on here. So what is a cap? A cap is a warm layer aloft, okay, about 5 to 1,000 feet high, right around there, where the temperature actually increases instead of dropping. Now, the example you see on the left actually shows those temperatures actually dropping. So if you allow that to happen, warm air allows it to rise freely, and this is where you have these explosive thunderstorms that could be taking place. You have this air that can rise very quickly and produce these towering storms that can produce a plenty of severe weather. But when you're dealing with the cap, what are we dealing with here?
It holds it down. That inversion in the atmosphere doesn't really allow those clouds to explode up or develop more. You don't see those parcels in the air, that moisture rising, that instability rising, allowing that cloud cover to develop.
Right.
And these severe storms to, I guess, develop. I mean, if you look further on the left here, where it rises, you're going to be seeing severe storms. But the thing with this system is, if it does break the cap, that's where it's going to pop off.
That's game on.
That's game on.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what we're concerned about, is the strength of the cap. That's what we're going to be keeping an eye on, the strength of the cap, because, you know, honestly, in these severe weather seasons that we are dealing with the level of a cap, this warm air aloft, the strength of it, this really can determine whether we have severe weather or nothing at all.
Yeah.
That's the most challenging part when you're seeing models hinting on a strong cap that can avoid any type of severe weather around here, or even for that matter, any thunderstorm activity, any type of rain. So that's kind of what we're going to keep an eye on, certainly as we head into tomorrow. But most of the models do agree. However, though, you can break this cap, okay? If the cap is weak enough, then you can start seeing some of that scattered activity make its way around here, even though you don't have a trigger like a cold front to come on through, okay? So that's something we definitely have to keep an eye on for tomorrow.
Just these little disturbances, and there's going to be little troughs kind of making their way through before that cold front too. So these little pockets of instability can track through and create those little breaks in the cap.
Absolutely, like the warm front expected to come in tomorrow morning. If that warm front comes in and even pops up in a few simple showers, then it weakens the cap even more. And then when you go in later in the day, and you have a lot of buoyancy that's going to build in, that can easily break the cap as well, okay? But right now, we're kind of trending on a stronger cap to take place as we get to about Monday night. Once again, I want to stress, if you're asking, like we don't have our Facebook page up, unfortunately, I get these questions. But if we're looking at a time period where we're going to see some of these severe weather maybe take place, it's going to be later Monday night. Later Monday night. Now, the front itself is not expected to get here until about maybe 3 o'clock in the morning. So Peter, when you're dealing with a front coming in so late, what does that actually tell us? I mean, when it comes to the environment, what's kind of limited?
Instability is limited. You have those temperatures drop, and storm energy also starts to decrease as you get later into those overnight hours.
You get a gold star.
Oh, thank you. Oh, goodness. It means the most coming from this guy. But you can look here at our storm energy, for example, that instability we like to talk about. This is a great example of that. So notice it during the daytime hours with all this warmth. You're seeing that coloring here near the Quad Cities, almost at that extreme level.
Yep,
it's pushing really near it with all this warmth we're seeing. It's unseasonal. You have the dew points too, so you have those ingredients during the daytime hours. But as we get later into the evening, notice that coloring slowly starts to dissipate and get back towards that almost orangish reddish color low by the time we reach 9 o'clock.
Yeah, around 9 o'clock. And even though the storm energy is there, you need a nice trigger to break that cap and take advantage of that storm energy. You can have all the storm energy you want, but if you can't get that to explode into the atmosphere, then you're not going to have really much at all to contend with as far as tracking or anything like that. So that's kind of what we're dealing with here. So I would say, what we're going to be, like I said, keep an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on the western half of the Hawkeye State going into the afternoon tomorrow, into the early evening, and then we'll be keeping an eye on how that's going to be impacting us going into tomorrow night. So that's what we're going to be checking an eye on. We're going to be actually doing a nice little meeting with the whole weather department. We're also going to have a chat with our partners out at WOI over in Des Moines, kind of see how we're going to put our heads together here and see how we're going to go ahead and broadcast this and the coverage itself and what that means to everyone out there. And I think once we get through this, then all we have to do is deal with some pretty good rain that may be coming in by around late Wednesday night or Thursday.
Yeah, late Wednesday carrying into Thursday morning. Maybe some more thunderstorm potential on Thursday. Nothing severe, but I've had a little bit of a thunderstorm chance. They're mild rumbles.
Right. Exactly. And I think more importantly, too, I think that wave may give us a much better chance of seeing some rainfall. I've already had some neighbors asking me about, are we going to get some pretty good rain out of this wave of storms that be potentially coming in on Monday night? And it may not be the case because of the fact that these storms are going to be moving so quickly, it won't dump a lot of rain, if it does. And if it does, we're talking about maybe 1/10 of an inch.
That's it.
So the better round that we could be seeing maybe Wednesday night going to Thursday, we'll have a little bit more Gulf moisture to work with and thus maybe produce some pretty good rainfall around here.
Yeah, pretty good rainfall expected. I mean, again, about 1/2 inch to 1 inch is what I've seen.
Oh, they say, yeah.
There's some good, at least national blended models, kind of a tool we like to use.
Yep.
Puts kind of all of them together, gives us a nice little average.
Right.
Right around 1/2 inch to 1 inch in portions of the
I'm going to let my neighbors know.
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad there.
And I think once we get through there, then the following weekend, if you have any plans, then we will, the following week, actually looking pretty nice out there.
Pretty good, yeah, 70s and sunny, at least for now.
Yeah, at least for now, at least for now.
It's a good trend, though.
That's right, that's right. Well, that's pretty much will do it for us here. Yeah. And of course, we're going to have another
live stream.
Live stream. I guess we'll call it Ask Andrew Live.
Yes.
Coming tomorrow morning at about 9 a.m. Okay, 9 a.m. tomorrow. So keep in tune with meteorologist Andrew Stusky on Good Morning Quad Cities. 9 o'clock a.m. We'll have an Ask Andrew Live. That will go on for about a half an hour or so. Peter will be here as well, making sure that we're going to get some questions from you guys as well. Don't expect to see much in our weather tomorrow morning at around 9 a.m. And then we'll likely have another one going into tomorrow evening. Of course, we'll keep you updated on the 4, 5, and 6 o'clock newscast. And then we'll probably have another News 8 Plus coverage, possibly maybe around 8 o'clock. Things are fairly quiet, but by then, we'll probably see some storms out to the west of us, and those are the ones, if there are any, we'll be tracking.
Yes.
All right.
We'll be able to get a good idea for it.
That's right. All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining us here on the News 8 Plus app, and we will talk to you later.